Morning, family. On this wonderful Wednesday, man, we back in. Let me adjust the camera right there. Okay. All right. Looks like today is going to be a very good day. You know, a lot of times in life, so I'm finna be a little philosophical just for a minute, okay? A philosophy that I found that benefit me throughout my lifetime. As a father and as a parent, when other adults or other families take an interest in one of your children, that's not an affront to you. That's not out of disrespect to you. Because a lot of times what they do is they put themselves as a part of a group that serves as a support for their child. I know growing up, a lot of times, if there were things that I couldn't talk to my parents about, there were certain individuals around me that I always felt comfortable in reaching out to and talking with. Now, the majority of those individuals happen to be men that I aspired to be like. If you know me, you know that a lot of the influence that I had came from men who came into my life, at just the right time, just when I needed them, and they served to stabilize me, man, and to help me to, become a better person, to become the man that I am now. And I bring that up, man, because I'm getting to an age now where a lot of young guys that I know and respect, they're starting to form attachments with me like the attachments that I formed with the older gentlemen that were around me when I was young. And I think that's a good thing. I think it's a good thing. And to zero in on what I would say that is, it's just mentor or mentoring. You're being a mentor to those around you. Because evidently there's something in the way that you carry yourself, something in the way that you speak, something in the way that you think, or something that you might have that may be the goal of the young person that you're talking to. And I think it's selfish if you don't share what you know. It's selfish if you're not able to share with them what you found life to be, some of the pitfalls that you see, some of the things that they should avoid, but then also what are some of the positive and practical steps that they can take to prepare themselves for the life that they want. I think that's necessary. I really do. Because as a young man, my uncle, well, actually he was my great uncle, he was my grandmother's brother. When I was very young, we talking about maybe 9, 10, 11, somewhere in there. He moved from Kentucky to Mississippi. And in his moving, Uncle Van made an impact on me. A lot of the way I move now, a lot of the things I value, a lot of the principles, Bible principles, more than anything that I value, I got them from him. Even right down to the way that I dress, I still subscribe to a lot of the things that he taught me. Shoes match the belt. Pulling the color that's least worn out of the tie onto the handkerchief. Not just being stagnant and matching colors, but being creative. Allowing the way I dress to express, who I am. Because that's a form of art to me, and that was a form of art to him. He had a suit, a pair of shoes, a hat, for every occasion. Ties in abundance. And so I find myself doing that same thing right now. Ties in abundance. I got ties all over the house, according to my daughter. But at any rate, I just thought about that this morning because I think that's an interchange that needs to happen. As an older man, don't shy away from trying to instill wisdom and knowledge in those around you. You got life experience now. And at a certain age, man, it should also become a goal for you to stabilize the people that are around you. And I think that will contribute to, a better view of yourself, but then also it'll help those around you to have a better life. Because now think about this. What would it look like? What would it look like if I have a young man in my vicinity and he's struggling with trying to deal with past trauma? Let's say he's struggling with trying to deal with being raised in a poor community and not having the resources that those around him had. See, I can see where he's coming from, because I grew up in maybe one of the poorest towns in the poorest state in the Union. So I can understand the difficulties that come with it. I can understand how, maybe he can look at things and see difficulties that are insurmountable. But here's the truth of it. Anything that you set your mind to that's positive and progressive, eventually you can make that happen. So what would it look like? Me seeing that young man in that situation and not trying to encourage him by giving him practical things that work for me. I'll give you an example. One of the things that works for me no matter what is being respectful. Respect, showing respect to other people, valuing their opinions, letting them visibly see that you have respect for them by the way that you address them. Standing up and shaking hands, looking at them eye to eye. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. Yes, sir. No, sir. Those kinds of things. Now, a lot of people who hear this are going to say, okay, that's outdated. We don't use that kind of language anymore. But I've noticed throughout my life that using that kind of language, saying those sorts of things, it conveys to the person that you're speaking to that I'm trying to interact in a respectful way with you. And a lot of times that makes the difference. That makes the difference. I have a multivariate amount of users that I have to deal with different personalities. They speak differently, they think differently, all mixed into one position. And I have to make sure that, I can respond appropriately to each person that I'm involved with. So respect, man, will go a long way. And I know you're saying, well, I'm poor, I don't have everything I need. How in the world is respect going to help me? Well, one thing, as I mentioned now, you respect individuals, but then at the same time, it's a need to respect yourself. And how do you do that? Well, you take a fair estimation of yourself. Take a fair estimation of yourself. And then in amongst that estimation, make sure that you have foremost in your mind your positive traits and qualities. Yeah, I might be poor. I might not have the things that I need. But am I building traits and qualities that are going to help me to exceed in life? Because, see, like I mentioned, that respect is going to take you further than anything else, especially as a man. Being able to extend respect to others, being able to garner the respect from others. It'll take you farther than any degree. Because now, if you have the skill that's necessary for a certain position, or maybe there's a certain goal that you have. Maybe you want to be a small business owner. Maybe you want to be a large business owner. You're still going to need respect. And a lot of times people will base who they deal with, because I found that to be the case. They'll base who they deal with off the amount of respect that the person gives. So you think about it. You're about to allow, just as an example, you're about to allow somebody to work on your home. Maybe you need some changes in your bathroom. And maybe the job is going to take a while to complete. Maybe let's say 4 to 6 weeks is going to take to complete this redo of your bathroom. You're going to renovate it right down to the joints and the joists in the bathroom. You're going to strip it all the way down, and then you're going to customize it and build it to what you want. Wouldn't you rather have somebody in your home that was respectful? Would you rather have someone in your home that you can trust? And see, you see, respect and trust go hand in hand. If you respect the person, then after a while, you build a deep trust for that individual. So see, respect flows into other areas, man. But one thing about it, I'm glad. I'm thankful that the individuals who taught me that skill, who reinforced in me the value of showing respect and being respectable, I'm thankful that I've introduced to those individuals. I really am, because as I mentioned, it's helping me even now. 43 years old, and I'm still learning lessons that, you know, benefit me because of applying things that I was taught earlier in my life. So don't be afraid. Old to me. Don't be afraid, brothers. If you have something you want to share, take the brother aside. Take the young brother aside, or it might be a young sister. Take them aside and tell them, hey, I think that this might be something that you should add to your toolbox. This is a quality that maybe you should take another look at. Maybe you should try to develop it so that it can help you in your circumstance. And there's nothing wrong with that. And then I'll tell you something. A lot of the times, these young ones, they look at you and they realize that you're speaking from life experience and age, and believe it or not, they'll take what you say to heart. They'll take what you say, especially if you have the kind of results that they want in their life. They will absolutely take what you say to heart. So being a good mentor, being able to offer wise counsel and advice to people, that's an art. It's an art. And I, for one, I appreciate the fact that, you know, there are individuals around me that use that art to help me to see a better way to conduct myself, a better way to live life. And it has benefited me tremendously. It has. Because I see a lot of times that there are young people that you run into, and for a lack of better expression, they're aimless. They don't really know what they should do, how they should do it, what they should think, how they should proceed in life. And if you happen to be in contact with one of those young ones, then they put themselves in the position to where they'll listen, to where they can be reasoned with. Because some are unreasonable now, but that's not just young people, that's everyone. You find people all over that's unreasonable. So if you can find one that's reasonable and that's willing to listen, then you can help that individual. You can get them what they need in the way of clear thinking ability, logical thinking ability, rational thinking, that'll help them later in life. I'm living proof of it. But I think that's an important topic, man, and that's the only thing I want to do this morning. I want to share that with you all, because I had an instance this weekend with with one of, I would say, my mentors. It's much, much closer than that. But, you know, it kind of touched my heart because I've gone through a lot of difficulties in these last few years. Quite a few. It seems like the difficulties never end. But at the same time, you got people that are around you, man, that never give up on you. They never do. They never throw in the towel. They never say, well, this is something that he won't be able to learn. So I'm just, I'm just going to let him do what he wants to do. No. Anytime I ever go to this person, anytime me and him ever have a conversation where I'm lost, or maybe I'm confused about what I should do or how I should approach it, he always is there to give some practical advice. And I think that's the advantage of being an older man. The wisdom, what you've seen throughout your lifetime, share it so that those around you can benefit, man. So the issue that I had, I spoke with him about it, and one of the things that he reassured me of is his belief in the fact that this is something that I can overcome. This is something that it doesn't have to stifle my joy in life. And then he gave me some practical steps that I could use, to help out, to get me to the place that I desire to be in. And see, that's the thing, man. Anytime you got people around you in life that want to see you have the best, be the best, feel the best, then those are people that you should hang on to. And I found in my life that the majority of people that I've had the pleasure of meeting, I can say that about them. The majority of people that I call my friend, I can say that about them, man. And I feel the same way. As an older man myself now, I'm passing on the legacy, man. I'm going to take what I know, the experiences that I've had, and in an objective and unbiased way, I'm going to attempt. Because, sometimes the bias is overwhelming. Sometimes you just can't help but to feel a certain way about a situation that you've been involved in, and it bleeds through no matter how objective you try to be. But I'm going to try to pass on what I know objectively so that it can be used to help people around me. I think that's a praiseworthy thing. I think it's a noble effort to see individuals who are trying to do the right thing, and then to give them the encouragement that they need to continue. Because it's always best to do what's best. Always. And that was kind of deep, wasn't it? It's always best to do what's best. So I think for the most part, a lot of the young ones, and it even, goes to the podcast that I just released. A lot of young ones, they hear a lot of different messages. But one of the main ways that you can prevent yourself from being affected by negative propaganda is to find someone in real life, who has already achieved what it is you're working toward. Now, I'm not saying that you should imitate their way of life. I'm not saying that you should make yourself a clone of that person, but what I am saying is that they can most definitely offer you some valuable insight into all of the facets of what would be demanded of you to get to the point that you've set as your goal. So we're for positive progression, we're for moving forward, but at the same time, if I can move forward and be positive, but I can do it with the least amount of mistakes, the least amount of pitfalls, then that would be more advantageous, I think. And the way that you do that is by involving individuals who have either been through your circumstances, whether they were successful or not. They can tell you what the difficulties involved are going to be and what you should expect. So I think that's something that needs to be, I think we need to use that as a resource, especially as young people. I still use it as a resource now, and I'm through half my life, right? Middle age, and I still use that same resource because what it does is, man, it helps you to stay ahead of the game and to be prepared for situations despite whatever difficulties may come. So that's a powerful tool, that's a powerful weapon that you can use, man. And then it like we said in the beginning, it serves to stabilize you. So that's just something I was thinking about last night, man. I got up this morning with the same thing on my mind. I'm so thankful for those individuals in my life who were individuals who had a stabilizing effect on me. They were stabilizers, especially during my teen years, man. I cut loose a little bit, and I had individuals in my life that didn't hesitate to snatch me back and say, hey, that's not the way to do that. We can find a better way. So I was just thinking about that. Mentoring can mean the difference between reaching your goal and not having to go through all the scarring, all of the trauma. It can mean reaching your goal without all of those things, as opposed to having to go through difficulty in order to learn. You can learn from others. And if you allow others to teach you what they've learned, then you can skip over the difficulties that come with trying to achieve your goal. So that's just a thought for this morning. That's all I wanted to do. I want to tell y'all about it. I'm pulling up on the bus stop now, man. Get on this bus and go on in to work. Y'all know I love you. So take it easy. Peace.